I think that probably the very best compliment Bryan Kersey could receive is that as he sits here today in Pod World headquarters, we don't know what's going to happen between today and the day you hear this, but as of today, I really don't have a very long list of things I'm angry about to talk to him about.
Yeah.
So I think
Early. It's early. There's some key guys left.
just wait. But you know, Bryan, he's here with us every year, the coordinator of ACC officials, and is nice enough to come spend some time with us every year around the time of the ACC tournament and talk about how the year has gone. So I guess first, kind of what's the state of the union and ACC basketball officiating right now?
Right now they're working. I mean, they're working hard. I mean, they are, we have very, very good officials, national officials. And right now they've protected me, protect this league. And, we hope it continues. You count them when you're a coordinator, you count them down. So I know we have 2 more Saturdays. After tonight, we have 1 more Monday. So, I mean, it's I could say fun, but it's you sit on the edge of your seat every time. We have so many less experienced guys that have been, we went to 18 teams. We got to work them, and, they've panned out, and knock on wood, it continues. But I have great vets. I mean, our vets are, you got Ayers, you got Groover, you got Bert Smith and Lee Cassell and Cove and, Clarence. You got these guys. I mean, it's easy to watch them work.
Okay, one of the big changes this year is the challenge.
Yes,
the
great.
ability to challenge.
Great.
How has that process gone from the officiating side of things, in your opinion?
It's been good. I mean, I think coaches like it. It gives them a little bit of control over what they want to do. There's no, they don't want to use them all up, of course. They don't want to be wrong. So I'd hate to be the video guy sitting, in the second row looking at the iPad. But, right now it's worked out, and I hope it continues. And I think it'll expand. I don't think they're going to get more challenges, but, you have appeals, you have challenges, and you have stuff like this. But, it's been good, especially end of games. We're not running over to the monitor every out of bounds play. And I don't know if it's made the games any shorter, which I think is what they wanted to do. We might be saving 1 or 2 minutes, but I think they end with less controversy now that they have challenges.
Okay, 2 questions on this process. It feels like, and this is across the board here, that the officials, when there's a play where they figure, they might want to challenge, there's like a 15-second or 10-second grace period where they're kind of looking over there. And is that something you guys talk about? Is that just a feel thing?
Yeah.
How is that supposed to play out?
It's a little mix of both. I mean, we talked about it before the season started. We got to give them a little bit of time, so we just pretty much go in slow motion and make sure the ball is...
drop the ball. Oh, no.
Roger Ayers is the all-time best at that, right? Like, he's got a whole bag of tricks.
A lot of our guys have a lot of bag of tricks, but it's it just... And I think it gives a little trust factor from the coaches to the officials when they slow it down, because they're looking at them. They know what they're doing. They're pointing to their video guy. And, again, if we get in games with less controversy, even if they're wrong on their challenge, it's still they know at that point before they have to go look at it after the game.
The other question I had was on this appeal versus challenge. I have not seen – Adam, there's not been an appeal in a Carolina game yet, unless I'm just blanking on one. I have seen it a couple of times kind of nationally just watching other games. For folks who maybe don't understand that, could you explain the difference between those two things and kind of where they are and why the thought process of having different things like that?
So challenges, you can only challenge basket interference, goaltending, restricted area plays, and out-of-bounds plays. The difference is in the last 2 minutes, referees can go check basket interference, goaltending, and restricted area plays, which just means secondary defenders in the arc. We can never go look at out-of-bounds plays. So coaches have to challenge that throughout the game. The appeals are more like a 2-pointer to a 3-pointer. Might have missed a flagrant foul, might have missed something off the ball, they might have put 2 points on the board instead of 3, might have foul on the wrong, a coach might think foul's on a different player and they want to appeal it. So those are the appeals that they're getting right now. And, we've had a bunch of both. I mean, it's been good. We haven't really tracked it a whole lot. Maybe that's something we do in the future. I mean, it's hard to do because we're not in arena to see if it's a appeal or something like that. I know I get buzzed every time they go to the monitor, so I'm getting buzzed a lot less this year.
You're getting buzzed.
I get a vibration on my phone, and then it's great if I'm streaming a game, because I can see it and I know it's coming in about 15 seconds. It's not good if the game's on TV live and, I'm not streaming it. But I think it's been good. Like I said, anytime we can give coaches a little bit of a control, I think it helps them just minimize controversy.
We know that there is no place in the world that has as many views as the Kersey Command Center.
No doubt. It's up to 8 now. We're up to 8.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
It grows every year.
Grows every year.
You got to improve.
Yeah, that's right.
That being said, when we go to a review, is there ever a case where there's an angle available to the public, either on TV or on the in-arena video board, that is not available to the officials?
Not that we have found yet, because the system that we have, which I don't know if any other league has it, has 8 angles. One of those being what they're showing out to the public. We have that screen stays on the whole time. So we have 3 guys now go over and look at it. One guy's supposed to watch that and say, hey, look at this angle here. They can go to the other side where the 8 are and they can hit that, because it's all touch screen. They can hit that and bam, it just pops up. Now, sometimes one of those screens might be blank and not come up till the end. And then they can go back and look at that. But other than that, that screen on the left-hand side that continues to show, the league gave us as good a replay system as we can have. And I think it's necessary in today's world. And they can monitor that and they can see what the public's seeing. And if they want to put the headsets on, they can listen to what the commentators are saying. But normally, if you just look at that, you can tell what angle to go to.
Okay, so that made me think of 2 things. So one, that's different, right? The 3 looking, it used to be 2 looked and 1 worked on his grocery list or whatever.
Well, it was dinner reservation.
In what scenario would they ever want to listen to what the commentators are saying?
Well,
it was Jones. And
Yeah, honestly, I assume they're listening the whole game.
we don't do radio people.
Understood. Totally understandable.
Because they might just flip and say, oh, there it is, obvious. And they could be looking at a bigger monitor. They could be sitting, I don't know what they're looking at, and then they say something because that's the only angle that they're looking at. We've got 2 guys looking at 8, 1 guy looking at 1, and it's a small square. So he may say, oh, it's obvious it went off of his hand. Then they can blow it up on the other side, and then it covers the whole monitor.
You said you had 2 things, Shadow.
That was 2. The first was about the 2
Okay.
guys, and then now
Gotcha.
it's 3.
So in football this year, they did this thing where they're going to the command center and you can hear
Everything you're saying.
Would this ever be something of interest? I know the process is different, but would it ever be something where, like, there's a microphone there and you hear the officials talking? I mean, is this something we even want to deal with, or you even think is there even a way to get more access? I feel like it's pretty accessible.
Very accessible now, especially with where the microphones are
right
at the table. But I wouldn't put it past anything because we're trying to be as transparent as we can. I don't know that we'll ever have collaborative replay like they do in football just because of multiple things going on, different nights. I think that we will expand, what we can hear at some point. I think they're always looking. It is still fan-based. Our game is still very much fan-based. And I think if we can give them a little bit more, I think you'll see that. But, that's up to Commissioner Phillips and Paul Brazo. And then they usually tell me this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
So I just wait for them to let me know what's going on.
I know how that process works. You wait for somebody else to tell you.
100%.
I know about.
I don't make suggestions that.
What if we got a camera in the Kersey Command Center? What about that?
I'm telling you, it would be something to watch. I can promise you that. You don't hear anything.
What if we just designate guys, Virginia Tech and BC are playing. This is going to be the Kersey Command Center.
That's right. That's it.
We could get that sponsored.
The good thing is we have no sound in there because I don't like to listen to announcers. So I cut all the TVs all the way down. It's great.
That's your quiet time.
So remember, Saturdays from like 12 at noon to 10 o'clock at night, there's no sound in my office unless I'm saying something really bad.
Silence in there. Just Bryan with his fingers crossed on his chest.
That's right. All day long. All day long. Yep.
This year, I feel like I've seen more players try to claim hook and holds than maybe the last couple of years. What actually has to be present for it to be a hook and hold?
Well, they've gotten good at it. Number one, we went
it or at
I don't think. I think they've gotten good at thinking they're getting hooked and held. I think that hook and hold. You got to either go under somebody's arm or over top of it, and then actually clamp at your elbow. So I mean, now you've got players that are actually grabbing hands, and you got people. So there's not as many going on. Coaches are back on this kick right now about hook and holds. They just see and hear what their players tell them, because I think if you look at all the players now, it doesn't matter what happens on the court. They're given the replay thing. You have a foul call and they want us to overturn that, and last I checked, we can't do that.
That is still a very – people are still confused about that.
And we like them to be confused. We like them to not know all the
People
rules.
of history.
Exactly right. Exactly. No doubt. But I don't think they're hooking and holding as much as they thought they were, because they're rebounding with arms underneath somebody else's arm, and they're going straight up with them. They're not actually clamping, which would mimic a hook and hold for them to go look at. But coaches have asked, based on what their players tell them. You see a lot of games now, just out of bounds plays where players say, "I didn't touch the ball," and they tell them to look, and then boom, they lose the ball. Then the coaches get mad. So, they're not looking at hook and holds as much as we did 2 years ago. And last year we were pretty much off of it.
All right, we may have asked you this the last year or two, but I really feel like it is a relevant topic now. I'm going to guess, I don't know, when was like Greg Paulus at Duke? Like 2008, let's just say. I feel like there were charges all the time back then.
Yep.
You don't see that many charges anymore. What happened?
Rule changed.
Right. I mean, do you think it was just the restricted circle? What do you think has changed?
No, I think in the past, back then, when I was refereeing,
sure,
we missed a lot of plays. Just say that. It was me. Just blame it on me. No, but we defined what a defender actually has to do. He's got to get plant. He got to get set. We defined it's got to be a plant foot. It's got to be before that plant foot gets down. And once we define it, then it's easier to referee. There are a whole lot more blocks called now on secondary defenders than there have been ever. And it's because that plant foot gets set and you're not there, it's over with. And there's a lot of sliding going on. There's a lot of it prevents a lot of injuries, which is what the rule is pretty much put in to do. And I think it's helped, and it's opened our game. It's given us a lot more spacing, for offenses to be able to do things. And athleticism is still involved. Don't get me wrong, but defenders just, once they come over, a lot of times they're either moving forward or moving sideways, and it makes my guys and gals' jobs a whole lot easier.
Now, I think I'm right about this. There was supposed to be this year a little bit more continuation, for lack of a better term, for an offensive player, right?
Correct.
I don't feel like is that hard to change that mindset? I just don't feel like I've seen it a ton. I'm not saying it's being done incorrectly. I just feel like it might be hard to change that after it's been one way for so long.
I think that across the country in the past, it's been refereed differently. They defined it, and it pretty much is defined the same way that we were calling it. Same way Mike Eads, who came, long time here, they were calling it. So I think all we did was just make the rule pretty much, coordinators sit down and do the rule, and then we give it to the rules committee and stuff like that. We make suggestions. We're not on the rules committee, but, we make suggestions. And I think it pretty much just made it national, the way we've done it for years. And I don't think our guys have changed how they call it.
Everybody knows that the conference now spans from East Coast to West Coast.
Yes, it does.
And teams have to make that trip, and Carolina did it this year, so we got to experience it, and we loved every second of it. In terms of your job of assigning officials and mapping out this entire country of where people are going, how does that impact what you do?
Well, I work real close with Mike Eads and John Higgins and Terry Oglesby, who is the new Big Ten coordinator. And we all have guys that work for each other. So I can send the guy west, and we can work him out going out there and work him back in conjunction with the other three. I can bring Greg Nixon, who lives in Washington State, or Tony Padilla or Michael Irving, who both live in California, and bring them east and work their way here because they work for John Higgins and they work for Terry Oglesby, and then work them back out going the same way. So it's end result is longer travels, more miles for them, but the stops are the same as they would be if they just stayed on the East Coast. So it's made the transition a whole lot easier with all 4 P4 coordinators getting along unbelievably. So, I mean, we sit down, we have conversations. Johnny Cal's involved in these in the Big East. So, I mean, that helps a whole lot too. So I can bring those guys here. They can work multiple games here, then work their way out with different supervisors. So and our guys can do the same thing. Groover goes out there, Cassell, Roger goes out there, Bert. All of them have been out there. Everybody that you see that'll work at the tournament and past those guys, they've all been out there. And some of them work lower leagues than, the P4s or the Big East. So they work different level of games going out there and coming back.
That might kind of address this. I think there used to be the case that people would say, Conference X, well, that's officiated this way. They play this way in that league. Is there less of that now? Do you think, does the ACC have a profile, or has college basketball changed to the point that they're pretty similar?
I think the way the game is being officiated is very, very similar now because we get along. And everybody's got an alliance or consortium or whatever. We all are doing the same teachings in the summer. Now, athleticism per league is different. You got shot blockers in one league. You got slow post players in another league. You got dunk leagues. You have layup leagues. So those plays are all refereed the same throughout. It's just there's more of these plays in this league than there are in League A than there are in League B. But I think the style that we're officiating with, because we all use those same officials, now I think it's gotten better. I think it'll help all of our teams when they go to the NCAA tournament. Of course, everybody says referee different in the NCAA tournament. I don't think it's as physical and all. It's probably not. But it's going to be close to what we've done all year in all of these different leagues. As you saw, the other night, we had a Big Ten team playing ACC team. You had Houston played. Who did they play? Arizona. So you had those teams playing. So, and they were both those games were refereed very, very similar by referees from different leagues. Ohio State played Virginia, Baylor played Louisville. So they're all mixed with officials from different leagues. The non-conference schedule this year for all of our teams. Look at the difference in them, and they're all refereed using referees from all the different leagues. And I think their scheduling has helped officiating get better, national-wise, and get more equal national-wise the way games work, just because they're playing the games and these guys are working with each other.
Adam, by the way, you're definitely in the layup league.
I was going to say dunk leagues and layup leagues. I didn't even know dunk leagues existed. Somebody should have told me.
Okay. We may have talked about this before. I don't remember. Like, we can name 3 or 4 guys who I consider like big game guys.
Correct.
Roger Ayers, Groover. Like, there's some guys like that these are big game guys.
Right.
How much trust do you have to build up to be a big game guy? Like these are veteran officials. Is
Correct.
this something where it's like, how quickly can you become a trusted big game guy or gal?
Depends on how long it takes Roger and Groover and Bert and Lee and Cove and Clarence to get them ready. The good thing about the roster officials that we have is they're all handpicked by our veterans and myself and Jamie Lucky, who now works for us to help with our training and development. So they're all hearing the same thing. So I live on what they tell me. That they all get evaluated every single whistle in a conference game. Tommy Morrissey is now what I consider a big time guy. Tony Henderson's big time guy. AJ Desai's big time guy. And they train these guys, not only in the games, but after the games, watching the films, watching the plays they think, taking the evaluations that I give them, getting the phone calls at halftime, which are usually not really good. If I call at halftime, I say,
halftime call is not good.
Halftime call, and they know to answer on a speakerphone because it's coming to all 3. But I put a lot of trust in those guys. Those guys, the main guys that you named. Roger's been in this league forever. He bleeds this league. Groover has been here since I got here. Cassell, Bert, since I've been here. So they know what I feel about the league. It's just 37 years or whatever it is for me in the league. So, They know my passion. They have to have the same thing. We discuss this at not only in the summer at camps, but also in leadership meetings that we have preseason. They know my thoughts on this league. They know what Paul Brazo expects of them. And then they know Jim Phillips is watching. And I think if they know all of that, it helps them appreciate what they have. I mean, it's not many leagues where you can land in an airplane and not have to drive, 3 hours to a game, and they appreciate that. And they appreciate the way the league takes care of them. I mean, it's I don't want to say it's different here. My opinion, it is with the caring and what people feel about it.
Would you say it just means more?
I never say that. Never say that.
Can you imagine, Adam, if the officials get a call, they go down to have a drink of water, use the bathroom, whatever, at halftime, and they get a call from Kersey World Headquarters there?
It's never good.
I think you got to go with you know how it is down there in the basement of the Smith Center, no service, the phone wasn't working.
Sorry, Brian, couldn't see it. My phone.
One of the worst things officials can have is red receipts on their text message. And I tell them, don't have that on your phone because I know that you've already read it. Don't text me back an hour later and say, I just got this. I said, no, you read it. Here's the time you read it.
What are some of the elements of being a big game official that go beyond you're confident they can differentiate between a block and a charge or make the mechanical parts of officiating work that maybe you can't assess until you actually see them do a big game?
I think coaches' trust is big. I think when they walk on the floor, coaches are like, they're like, okay, everything's going to be all right. I think calmness, and I think listening skills. I mean, I think we have so many referees that can listen. Everybody says everybody, when they first come up refereeing, think communication is talking. You got to listen first because that guy on the sidelines when he comes at you, he's coming. And, but our coaches are great. They get everything off of their chest, and then they listen to what we tell them. And then if they don't like it, they call me. And then I listen for the first 5 minutes and sometimes sit my phone down and put it on speaker and let them go. But I just think that, if they can go on the floor calm, it shows a lot of strength. I think if they can go on the floor and coaches believe them, I made coaches believe me for a long time. I missed a lot of plays, but I would always listen to what they said, and I would always say something back to them. They might not like what I said, and they might not like what my guys and girls tell them, but they know that they're being heard, and I think that that's a huge factor in refereeing. Plus, we have really good play callers. I mean, if like I said, they get charted every whistle, and they get charted on plays that they should have called that they didn't. They get dinged on those, and they want their numbers to be really, really good. Because as soon as that game's over with, boom, that evaluation comes straight to me. And it's a impartial evaluation from 5 guys that were former referees. A couple of them are former NBA guys, some college guys thrown in there too. And, I mean, they're hard on them, which is good.
Is that is it Ref Tracker or something? What's the assessment thing?
No, we use a company called Ref Score.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, it's put out by a company called Ref Masters, and
there we go. Master, Tracker, Statter.
You're just following something.
There's a big difference in Tracker and Master. Big difference. Big difference. Ref Tracker will be working tonight because Roger's working, but they track all of our officials anyway. So, but Ref Score will be working tonight too, and it's a very, very detailed form. I can go to that form and I can take a picture of it, send it to my referee to say these ones that are in red are the ones you need to look at. And if your number's in red, that's a bad phone call as well. So, or in a bad text. Say, here's your numbers. Why is that number red? And I tell them, don't stop telling me I got to get better because I can only hear that once. It's like telling a coach, sorry, coach, I missed it. You tell him 3 times you missed it, his response is not going to be very good. So, I mean, they know what's expected of them, and they go to work.
Who knew Ref Tracker was such a bad word, Adam?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, you said it earlier. You're not on the rules committee. We understand. Are there some things that you are looking at, though, and think this would be worth the discussion? This is something that I think maybe we need to tweak or think about. Anything about the game right now that's in your mind that way?
Well, the good thing is this year's not a rule change year, so we'll do it again next year. But I think that the only thing that I would like to see is a limit on appeals. You know, if we can limit those just like we do challenges, and then I think we need to leave the game alone. Let's go 4 years. Let's just go 4 years because our game is good. Our game is watched. Our game is understood. And it's just like the challenges. We throw challenges in, which I think are great, but now fans have a confusion. You know, players have a confusion because they think we can do fouls. I also think on challenges we may get something like a proximity foul or something like that, you know, on an out-of-bounds play that gets challenged and it, you know, it might go off the guy wearing blue, but the guy on white just crushes him going out of bounds. We might get something like that in 2 years, but other than that, I'm telling you, we just need to leave it alone and let them grow like we're growing.